one more clap, just 3 this time.
Yeah. Alright, so I started off my research with Rob Rayner because I wanted to kind of get a good kind of starting point on mockumentaries and kind of get an idea of how to film them, how to script them, how I want the characters to react to each other.
Yeah.
So I started off with an interview with him. He kind of talks about it a bit. There's some stuff in there. He talks about how he kind of wrote the script for it and then how he found the actors to play the parts and stuff like that. I wrote a little summary there. And then I looked into Taika Waititi and what we do in the shadows. I didn't know what this film was. It was recommended to me by Sally when I told her my idea, and I watched it. It was actually really, really good, and I used it as a similar kind of thing to what I used Spinal Tap for, because the script for it is really natural and flowing between the characters, and that's something I really want to have in mind. I use that a lot mainly for this because it's the script and it's really like, even though the storyline for it, it's about vampires and werewolves and stuff like that, it's so ridiculous and it's obviously fake, but the characters' reactions with each other seem so real that it's like you can really fall into the story of it. So this is just another little interview where he talks about how he came up with it and all this kind of stuff. And then I broke down segments of the script and wrote about what I kind of found from it and stuff like that, and how I kind of took the way that they format the jokes and the interactions between each other. I wanted to get a similar kind of feel for my script. And then mine's heavily based on Mind Strange Addictions, so I obviously did some research into that. I do need to do more research into this though. I've watched quite a lot of it, but I haven't got it all down on my website yet. So I've got some articles and stuff about it, and I've kind of talked about how it's influenced my idea for my FMP, and how it's kind of, because my FMP is pretty much a parody of it, so a lot of the stuff that happens in My Strange Addictions needs to kind of take place in my film as well. So, but obviously mine's just going to be kind of a outlandish kind of version of it. I don't know how to say this guy's last name, Louis Theroux. Yeah, I researched a bit into him because he's a very like traditional documentary kind of guy, and I wanted to make sure I understood the code of conventions of a regular documentary. So I looked into him. I looked into some of the stuff that he's done. I looked into the Nazis one that he did. I looked into the Most Hated Family in America one, and I got some articles about him. And it basically, the main thing that I'm taking from him is the role that he has as an interviewer, and how he's quite emotionless, and he asks the questions and he doesn't get affected by anything that's happening. And I really want that to kind of happen in my film. I want the interviewer to, even though there's ridiculous things happening in front of him, I want him to just be straight-faced, not be affected by it at all. So I took quite a bit from that, and also just the codes of convention, which is also I have here. There's quite a lot that there is. This is basically all just from like a website that I found about the codes of conventions, documentaries. I've read through it a bit. I definitely want to do the handheld camera. I'm debating whether I want to do a narration between because I know I'm definitely going to have interviews, and the interviews are going to play over clips, but I don't know if I want to have a separate narrator to explain what's going on as well. I haven't really decided on that yet. And then 3-point lighting and stuff like that, I want that for the interviews, and the rest of it, obviously tripods and stuff like that, but it's a lot of the documenting stuff, it's kind of happening in the moment, so a lot of the film is going to be handheld, I've found from looking at documentaries. And then I looked a bit into addiction. This is just from the NHS website. It literally just goes through how it talks about how addictions can come about, and then explains kind of what an addiction is. So I definitely need to research into this. I need to do a bit more on this to make the character believable as someone who's actually addicted to dressing up as a dinosaur. So yeah, I need to do more research into this, but I've got some up here about it. And then I've looked into parodies already, because Comedy Central have a whole series about My Strange Addictions, where it's a whole parody series of it. And I wanted to take quite a bit of inspiration from it, but I also wanted to kind of do it my own way, because I don't want to just do what they're doing. I want to do it kind of differently as well. So, because what they do, their series, all of their addictions are just things that people do that annoy other people, but they do it all the time and it becomes an addiction. It's like this guy's just addicted to quoting movies, and he just does that 24/7. And then there's one of them where a guy just gets in people's personal space a lot whenever they're talking. It's just like annoying stuff that people do. So it's like, it's quite funny, but I kind of wanted to go in my own direction in that sense. And then, yeah, I researched a little bit into the equipment that I need to use. This is something I need to look into a bit more as well. Yeah, such as cameras, 3-point lighting, I want to look more into that. Microphones, all this stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's really well done. Well done. You know, I think you're another one where you've done research it's genuine.